At 78, Martha stood at the edge of her backyard, staring at the vibrant canvas of colors that was her garden. She had never planted a seed, let alone thought of starting a new hobby. But that day, a wild thought sparked in her mind. What if she became a gardener? But the obstacles loomed large. First, there was her age. Thoughts raced through her mind. What would people think? Am I too old for this? Will I even remember what to do? Then there was the practical side. Her knees ached from years of wear, and her eyesight had dimmed slightly. Yet, as she looked out at the neglected patch of earth, a stubborn ember of determination ignited within her. What if I surprise everyone, including myself? She whispered, heart pounding. Martha began her journey with small steps. She started by watching videos on gardening. Every evening, after dinner, she would sit at her kitchen table with her laptop, her spectacles perched on her nose as she absorbed every tip and trick, her heart swelling with excitement. The next Saturday, armed with a spade, some seeds she ordered online, and a bright yellow sun hat, she stepped into her garden. The sun bathed her in warmth as she knelt on the ground, feeling the cool earth beneath her fingers. But as she began to dig, her knees protested, and she felt a wave of frustration. Would she ever get the hang of this? But Martha remembered the videos. Start small, they'd said. So she shifted her focus to a single pot, filling it with rich soil, and carefully placing her seeds inside. Each seed was a promise, a dream of what could grow. She watered it gently, and for the first time in years, she felt a sense of hope blooming inside her. Days turned into weeks, and Martha faced setbacks that challenged her resolve. One morning, she discovered her pot had been knocked over by the wind. The soil was scattered, and her little seeds were nowhere to be seen. Anguish washed over her, but as she sat on her back porch, feeling defeated, she remembered her favorite quote from a gardening video. Every plant has its struggles, but perseverance is the key to growth. With newfound courage, Martha cleaned up the mess and replanted her seeds. She realized she could adapt. She could learn from her failures. She started creating a schedule, marking her calendar with watering days, feeding days, and even days for pruning. Each mark was a step forward, a commitment to her new adventure. As the weeks passed, tiny green shoots began to emerge from the soil. A thrill rushed through her. She had done it. The vibrant greens were a testament to her effort and dedication. Martha felt a connection to these plants, as if they were kindred spirits in their journey of growth. She decided to invite her neighbors over to see her garden. They arrived with smiles, their eyes lighting up as they took in the transformation. "You've done this all by yourself?" one exclaimed, disbelief hanging in the air. Martha beamed with pride, her heart swelling as she shared her story of resilience. But it didn't stop there. Inspired by their encouragement, she took the plunge and signed up for a community gardening class. Surrounded by young and energetic faces, Martha was initially intimidated. But as she shared her journey, she found herself becoming a mentor. The younger participants were eager to learn from her life experience, her wisdom, her tenacity. One evening, while discussing the importance of patience in gardening, Martha realized how much she had grown, not just her plants, but herself. The laughter, the shared struggles, the triumphs, they filled her with a sense of belonging she hadn't felt in years. The season changed, and so did Martha. Her little pot grew into a flourishing garden that was the talk of the neighborhood. With vibrant tomatoes, fragrant basil, and colorful flowers, she often found herself inviting neighbors for dinner, creating meals from her very own harvest. As she stood in her garden one sunny afternoon, she reflected on her journey. Martha had transformed from a hesitant beginner into a vibrant gardener, full of life and purpose. She had learned that age was merely a number, that every moment spent nurturing her garden was also nurturing her spirit. She began to document her journey, creating a blog to inspire others who felt stuck or hesitant about trying something new. Her posts were filled with tips, heartfelt stories, and beautiful photographs of her garden. The feedback poured in. People thanked her for sharing her journey, for reminding them to keep trying no matter their age. In the end, Martha realized she had not only cultivated plants, but had also cultivated a community. She had shown everyone, including herself, that it's never too late to start something new. So, if you're sitting there feeling stuck, remember Martha. Take that first small step, whether it's planting a seed, signing up for a class, or simply picking up a book you've always wanted to read. You never know where it might lead you. The journey of growth begins the moment you decide to take action, no matter your age. Let your dreams flourish. As the days went by, Martha found herself even more deeply involved in the gardening community. She volunteered at local shelters, teaching children the basics of planting and caring for plants. Each week, she would gather a group of eager young faces, all curious and excited to learn. Martha shared her knowledge, her stories filled with not just facts about soil and sunlight, but also the deeper lessons life had taught her over the years. The children listened intently, their eyes wide with wonder, as she spoke of the importance of nurturing not just the plants, but also each other. A garden thrives when we care for it, just like friendships and relationships in our lives, she would say, her voice warm and inviting. One sunny Saturday, Martha organized a community garden fair, inviting neighbors and friends to celebrate the beauty of gardening and the joys it brought into their lives. There were booths showcasing different plants, local artisans selling handmade garden tools, and even a section for children to plant their own seeds. The air was filled with laughter, music, and the sweet scent of blooming flowers. Martha stood at the center of it all, her heart swelling with gratitude as she watched everyone come together. She spoke to the crowd, sharing her journey, her struggles, and the victories she had experienced along the way. Gardening is not just about growing plants, it's about growing ourselves, building community, and sharing love. We all have the capacity to bloom, no matter our age or circumstances, she said, her voice resonating with passion. The fair was a tremendous success, bringing people from all walks of life together in a shared love for nature and growth. The community garden flourished, and Martha's story inspired many to pick up gardening tools, plant seeds of their own, and embark on their journeys of growth. As autumn approached, Martha's garden transformed. The vibrant greens gave way to warm oranges, deep reds, and earthy browns. She spent hours in her garden, harvesting the last of the summer's bounty, preparing for the upcoming fall. With every vegetable she picked, she felt a deep sense of accomplishment. Martha decided to host a harvest dinner, inviting her neighbors to celebrate the fruits of their labor. As she prepared the meal using her homegrown produce, she reflected on the journey she had taken. The kitchen filled with the delicious aroma of roasted vegetables, fresh herbs, and baked goods. On the day of the dinner, Martha set a long table in her backyard, adorned with flowers from her garden. As the sun set, casting a golden hue over everything, she welcomed her guests with open arms. Everyone shared stories, laughter, and the joy of community. Martha felt a warmth in her heart, a sense of fulfillment that she had never experienced before. That evening, as she looked around at her friends and neighbors gathered around her table, she realized that gardening had given her so much more than just plants. It had given her a purpose, a community, and a renewed sense of self. She had discovered her own resilience, strength, and the power of connection. The seasons continued to change, and Martha embraced each one with open arms. Winter brought a new challenge. The garden lay dormant, blanketed in snow. But Martha found joy in planning for the spring, researching new plants and experimenting with different gardening techniques. She even began to explore the idea of growing a greenhouse, a space where she could nurture her plants year-round. With a dedicated spirit, she reached out to local gardening experts, learned about greenhouse structures, and slowly began to gather the materials she needed. As spring approached, Martha was filled with anticipation. She envisioned her greenhouse as a sanctuary, a place where she could continue her journey of growth, both for her plants and herself. With the help of her neighbors, she built the greenhouse, each nail driven in a testament to her determination. Once completed, Martha filled it with seedlings, nurturing them with love and care. The excitement of watching them grow filled her with joy. The greenhouse became a hub of activity, a place where neighbors would gather to learn, share, and grow together. Martha's journey had come full circle. She had transformed not only her garden, but her entire life. She had embraced her age, her struggles, and her dreams, turning them into something beautiful. With each passing day, she continued to inspire those around her, reminding them of the simple truth. It's never too late to start anew, to plant a seed of hope, and watch it blossom into something extraordinary. So as you sit there, perhaps feeling uncertain about your own journey, think of Martha. Let her story remind you of the possibilities that lie ahead. Take that first small step and watch as your own life begins to flourish. The world is waiting for your unique touch, your vibrant spirit, and your dreams to take root. Embrace the journey, for it is yours to create.